Hello and welcome back to Life in Pictures. You might be thinking you just heard from us, and you did.
We said we were going to try to do these more frequently, and we kind of are. It's still January, and this is the second episode, so hopefully we will stay on this pace. We'll see how it plays out.
What a treat for all of you.
So, as usual, we have watched a whole lot of stuff, and we couldn't really decide what all we should and should not talk about. So we kind of just picked a few of the more recent things that we watched and decided we would cover them on this episode.
Yes.
So on today's episode...
So we are going to talk about some of the movies that we've recently watched, as well as a TV show that we have, or a streaming show that we have just started. So we're going to start with the movie The Baker, and this movie came out in 2022.
Yes, you can see it on Hulu, which is good news for us because apparently it was in the theater at some point. I remember we had gone to see another movie. I think when we saw The Sound of Freedom, they had the trailer for this movie, The Baker,
yes,
in the trailers, and it looked kind of interesting, and I wanted to see it. And I was like, cool, when that comes out, I'm going to go see it. And then I think it was even on the trailer reel for some other movies we saw. And then the Regal Unlimited app had like a little deal that was like, oh, you can bring a guest with you to see this movie. And I was like, cool. And then the next thing I knew, it was like that movie didn't exist at all. It wasn't in any of the theaters around, and I couldn't find it on streaming or anything. And then I would see it like on YouTube. If you typed it in, it would bring a thing up. And I'm like, cool, can I watch this movie? And there wasn't any option to rent or buy it. I'm like, I don't know what happened to this movie. It like just disappeared from existence. But we were browsing through Hulu the other day, and we saw it as an option to watch. So we decided to check it out. So if you don't have Hulu, you can subscribe to Hulu and watch this. How much is Hulu? Like $10 a month or something? I don't know. We have the Disney Plus bundle.
I think it might be like $5.
Yeah, there's really different tiers. I think. Like if you want the one without ads, it's more expensive than the regular one. Or anyway, you probably already know about Hulu. I don't need to tell you folks about how Hulu works.
Anyway, you can watch this movie on Hulu. It stars Ron Perlman and Harvey Keitel.
Yeah, so Ron Perlman, if you're not familiar with him, you might know him from Hellboy or Sons of Anarchy. He was in.
He's the guy with the weird face.
Yeah, you'll know him if you see him.
The foot face. He has a foot face.
Yeah, he's a good actor, but he's got a distinct look.
Yes. So I feel like he would not be someone that would easily go into hiding because he would be found. Anyway, so as the name suggests, Ron Perlman is a baker, and he's living his life quietly in some Florida-esque town. They're never really quite clear on where they live, but it feels like Florida.
We couldn't really tell. Apparently it's fictional, and it's in a place called Palm County, and we couldn't tell if it was supposed to be like Miami or LA. It's some kind of beach town type, like a beach town, but also like a big city like Miami or LA. And I don't think they ever confirm which part of the country you're supposed to be, that it's supposed to be taking place in.
Yeah. So this baker is just living his life baking bread and things, and he is interrupted by his son showing up unexpectedly with this granddaughter he didn't know he had. She's probably about, I don't know, like 8 to 10-ish years old, and she doesn't speak. The son has gotten himself into some trouble, and so he decides that he's going to drop his daughter off with his father, who he hasn't seen or spoken to in decades.
Yes. So earlier in the movie, you see the kind of trouble he got into.
Yes.
Where he is a...
Oh, spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry.
We didn't say it.
Our trademark for this episode, in case you're new to the show. Spoiler alerts. All of these movies we will be discussing as if you have already seen them, because we have already seen them, and we're not going to pretend we haven't. So if you want to know what happens in this movie, or any of these movies, go watch them first, and then come back and listen to the show. If you don't care about having them spoiled, then keep listening. But just so you know, we're going to be talking about things as if you've already seen these movies.
Yes. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
That's a good point. I almost forgot. So the son is a transport professional, shall we say, a limo driver, and he is at the airport. And I guess the person he's there to pick up, their flight got delayed, so he's like, "All right, cool. I'm gonna just go, take a nap in the parking garage for a few hours and whatever." Right? Well, while he's doing that, he stumbles upon, I don't know, like a hit or something, where this team of like gangsters or hitmen or something start beating and murdering this guy, and a whole group of people just beat and murder each other. And
so somehow everybody ends up dead.
Yeah, and he sees the whole thing go down from his car, and I don't think that anybody realized he was there. And then he finds a bag, and he takes it, and then he pulls his daughter out of school with a sense of urgency, and they travel to this bakery where you learn that Ron Perlman is his father and this girl's grandfather, and apparently this girl has never met him before.
Right. So then the son says he has to take care of some stuff and leaves the daughter there. And he has this bag that he found at the scene, and the owners of said bag find him. I don't think I was really clear on how that happened.
Yeah, well, they're just, like criminals, and they have their ways, I guess.
So they found him at his house, and he's like, "Here you go, here's your bag." Well, they open up the bag, and inside the bag are just clothes. So he didn't know that his daughter had actually taken what was in the bag. And at this point, we still don't know what it is. If it's whatever, it could be money
if it's
or
drugs,
whatever.
We don't know, but it's something they want pretty badly.
Pretty badly. So they decide that they're going to beat him, and he makes a quick phone call where he just starts listing things about his daughter when his dad picks up the phone. She's allergic to peanuts. This is why she doesn't talk, that kind of stuff.
Well, he doesn't say why she doesn't talk.
Oh, he doesn't say that.
No, but he says, what kind of food she likes and things like that. And so Ron Perlman hears his son getting beaten and eventually murdered.
Yeah.
And so he goes and tries to report this to the police. And he does report it to the police. And apparently they kind of act like it's not really all that much to go on, and they can't do much for him, but they have the information now. And you sort of learn about Ron Perlman and his granddaughter, whose name is Delphi, right? Delphi?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we learn. And you learn that Ron Perlman is ex-military. I don't know if they ever say what branch he was in, but he's, one of these kind of ex-military badass old men who fight everybody if he has to, but you wouldn't know it from looking at him, kind of thing. And so, he doesn't want to raise a granddaughter because he doesn't know her, and so he goes back to the son's apartment looking for answers, and the son's body isn't there, so they don't know for sure that he's been murdered, but it's not looking good. So then he finds his son's neighbor, and he talks to her, and she fills him in that the girl's mom had died in a car accident a few years ago, and she wasn't wearing her seatbelt, and ever since then the girl doesn't talk.
Oh, right. That's when you found out.
And so you learn a few things about them.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, Ron Perlman, God, what is his character's name in the movie?
It's a baker. I thought that's what they just called him.
I don't know if they actually told him his actual name or not, but him and Delphi, his granddaughter, go out looking for answers. What happened to his son and her father? And so he finds that there's a bag that what was in the bag was drugs, and so he stuffs all the drugs into this loaf of bread that he baked, and they take it with them. And so he goes and kind of tracks down some of these drug dealers and thugs and stuff, and starts telling them, "Hey, I got this. What is this? Who makes this? Who cares about it? who am I looking for here kind of thing. And in the process, they get kind of mixed up with some of these not nice people looking for him. And, he fights a few of them and kills a few of them. Some bad stuff goes down. And then you find out that one of the cops that's working the case is crooked.
Yeah, very sad.
He's telling the criminals what's going on. So...
But in the end, it works itself out, as these things do. And he is able to exact revenge. And actually, he's given the opportunity to murder the person that killed his son at his son's gravesite. And he chooses the higher road and lets him go. And then he meets with Harvey Keitel, who is kind of like the leader. And you can tell that they've known each other in the past.
Yeah, I think maybe they served together or something.
Right. It wasn't clearly explained like how they knew each other, but one of the things that stuck out to me was that Harvey Keitel said, the butcher becomes the baker.
Yeah.
So maybe in his military days, he had been known as the butcher. I mean, he clearly had like very high level skills of kicking ass. Yes. So he ends up with his granddaughter, and that's kind of that.
Yeah. Side note: the guy that he could have killed looks a lot like James Taylor, so it's not him, but it looks like
it's not him.
Yeah, it was a good movie though. I thought it was good. I was glad we finally were able to see it.
Yeah, it was decent. I think that the overt violence for me in some of these, like there's another one that we watched as well that was like worse, I would say worse with the violence. But for me, it's hard to like watch that kind of violence. So I have to like look away and be distracted. But overall, like I think I liked this movie better than the other one we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I'm glad we finally got to watch it. If you got Hulu, check it out. I mean, it's included in your subscription, so why not? Ron Perlman's a good actor, so is Harvey Keitel, so is the rest of the cast.
It was a good watch. Like, it was worth watching.
Worth your time.
Should we talk about Dragged Across Concrete next, since they're kind of same-ish genre?
Sure. So the next movie we're going to talk about is another kind of not huge blockbuster movie. We found this on Netflix. And the name of this movie is Dragged Across Concrete.
We were a little intrigued by it because we saw the little header page, and it's Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn, and it says that it came out in 2018. We're not really sure if it was ever a theatrical release. I don't remember ever hearing of this movie.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it either. And I don't know if it's one of those things where it was in the movies, or if it was made for Netflix, or if it was just kind of a... not maybe like a lower budget film that ended up on Netflix or what, but apparently it's from 2018.
And it's interesting because I had just said, like, where is Vince Vaughn? I haven't seen him lately. And then, like, we were scrolling and that happened to come up. And not that that's a brand new movie, but it's definitely a movie I hadn't heard of him being in before.
And he's been in a few like this. Like, there's another one that he was in that's called... Oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of this film, but he plays this guy that like goes to prison, and like it's another one of these kind of like violent movies where you're not really used. It's kind of a departure from his comedic roles.
Yeah, so this movie is extremely violent, and every piece of violence is very, very graphic. So I think that for me is
It's called Brawl in Cell Block 99 is the other one I was talking about.
Okay.
Just if you want to check that out. We won't discuss it here because you haven't seen it. But
no.
But it's in the same vein.
Okay, so this movie is available on Netflix, as we said. It's got Mel Gibson, Vince Vaughn, Jennifer Carpenter is in it, and she played Deb in Dexter, so we love her. So I saw her come on the screen, and I was like, it's Deb!
Yeah.
Don Johnson plays their police captain.
Don Johnson isn't in it for very long.
Yeah,
he's in it for a few minutes, but yeah.
So basically, in this movie, Mel Gibson is a police officer, and so is Vince Vaughn. and they end up getting suspended because there's a video of them like being very strong-armed in their tactics as
they're trying to take down a drug dealer.
Yeah. So they're suspended, and Mel Gibson's wife has some health issues, and he's trying to they're living in an area that's not so great, and he wants to make it a little bit better because his daughter's having a really hard time. So they're really trying to get some cash. And so what happens next?
Yeah, so they get suspended, and then they decide, well, we're going to kind of work this case on our own time. And they kind of start to follow these criminals around and try to make a bust. And it doesn't work out very well for them. They both end up getting murdered in the end. And Jennifer Carpenter gets murdered, as basically all of the big stars in this movie get murdered.
Yeah.
Jennifer Carpenter was only in it for like 5 minutes before she died.
More than 5 minutes, but they set up like a whole storyline around her.
Yeah.
Like she's waiting at the bus stop for the bus, and then you see her looking kind of nervous and like going back home, and she goes home and she's trying to get into her house, and her husband's not letting her in. He's got the lock. We come to find out that this is her first day back to work since having a baby, and she's having a really hard time letting go, and she doesn't really want to leave. So they spent all this time building that up, and then she goes to work, and she works at this bank, and then the bank gets robbed, and
they kill her in the robbery.
The robbery. Like, boom, dead.
Well, then they took a hostage from the robbery, and then when Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn try to go rescue her, she kills Vince Vaughn. I still don't understand why that happened.
Yeah, we're not really sure. They don't really explain that very well.
And, I don't know. I thought the movie was, like, okay. I thought it could have been better. I don't know. If you remember our episode that we did on another Mel Gibson movie called On the Line, I don't know, man. When I see Mel Gibson in these movies now, I kind of root for him. I'm like, he's kind of fell on some hard times professionally. And it's like, oh man, Mel Gibson used to be such a great actor, like maybe he's gonna come back and show that he's still got it. And you start watching these movies and you're like, oh, this isn't that bad. And then something you're like, what the heck was that?
One of the things that I noted about this movie, I said it a couple of times. I don't know if you agreed or not. You didn't really seem to have an opinion. I feel like Vince Vaughn looked like Tom Arnold in this movie.
I could see it a little bit.
Especially when he was like doing the like blonde hair dye thing. Mm-hmm. He just, every time I saw him, I was like, that looks like Tom Arnold. But anyway, for me, this movie was very violent.
There's a lot of shooting, a lot of blood.
A lot of shooting, a lot of blood, like hands blown off, eyes gouged out, like things that are just, I'm sure that there is a market for that type of movie. I am not that consumer. Yeah. So
basically, if you got some time to kill, you want to watch an action movie with a couple of big stars in it, and you don't want to look too deeply into it, it's not bad. Could be better, could be worse. I've seen better, I've seen worse.
So that takes us to our next movie. Yes. So
which one is it?
We decided, Travis, we've been talking about like old classic movies that maybe we've seen or seen part of or have never seen. Yeah. Movies that people are always talking about are like these really great movies. And
as you know from our last episode, I was that way with Face Off.
Yes.
And so in that same vein, so a side note, Green Day released a new album a couple of days ago. And so we were listening to it in the car, and there's a part in one of the songs where in the chorus he says he doesn't want to be a dead man walking. And that made me think of this movie. And I said, hey, have you ever seen Dead Man Walking?
And I had not.
And I said, you know what? I don't think I've really seen it either. I remember when I was a kid, my parents watched it, and I watched a little bit of it, and I remember it being kind of interesting, but I've never actually went back and watched the whole thing. So we decided to watch it.
Yes. So Dead Man Walking was released in 1995. Currently, it can be found on any of the streaming services that you can pay to watch something on. So Prime, YouTube, probably other places. One of them it was free on. Was it free?
Yeah, it's free on Pluto TV
with
there's
commercials.
ads.
Yeah.
So I'm impatient and I don't want ads, so I just broke down and gave them the $5 to watch it without ads.
Yes. So this movie has a lot of big names in it, but most notably it stars Sean Penn and Susan Sarandon.
It's directed by Tim Robbins. Written and directed by Tim Robbins.
Yes. But there's other stars in it. Arlie Ermey, Jack Black, John Abrahams. It says in the credits that Eddie Vedder is in it, but like
I didn't see him. So if he is in it, he must have been like a cameo or something that I missed.
I'm wondering if like they're just giving him credit because he was one of the musicians.
Yeah, because like later in the credits, it also had him listed under like the performers for the music. But at the end of the movie, they put Eddie Vedder in the names along with the actors, like as if he was in the movie. Maybe he was in the movie and we didn't see him. I don't know, but
yeah,
if he was, I didn't see him.
So apparently this movie is based on... So Susan Sarandon plays this nun who gets this letter from this death row inmate who wants to communicate with her and would like to meet with her. And turns out that the nun that she plays is a real life person who wrote a book called Dead Man Walking. But I guess the story in the movie isn't like a real story, like maybe like pieces.
They said it's based on, the characters are like composites that are kind of sort of related to her life experiences, but not meant to be like a direct representation of any factual events or people.
Yeah.
So I guess it's kind of sort of a true story, but...
So she goes and she meets with him, and he's very gruff. Like he is... I don't know, for a racist backwoods redneck. I mean, for really lack of a better term. He doesn't seem very apologetic or anything about where he is, but he does tell her, I didn't kill them. So the reason he's on death row is these two teenagers, a boy and a girl, were murdered in the woods, and the girl was also raped, and he and another guy were accused of murdering them and raping the girl, and the other guy just got life in prison, but Sean Penn's character Matthew was sentenced to death. And so he said, but I'm not the one that killed them.
Yeah, his story is that he was there and he helped this other guy. He restrained the boyfriend while the girl was raped and murdered. But he didn't actually, he did that because he was scared of the other guy, and the other guy killed them both and raped the girl. Right.
And he says they were, really high on drugs and high out of their mind, whatever.
And so, his stance is that he acknowledges that he played a part in it, but he didn't kill anyone. He didn't rape anyone. He's remorseful for it. He doesn't think he should have to be executed for it.
So she decides, being the good Christian that she is, that she's going to help him as he sets out to appeal. And during this process, like his date gets decided, and so as the movie goes through, they're continuing to appeal and go through this process, and the day is getting closer and closer, and she's spending more time with him and really trying to get a sense of who he was as a person.
She also spends time with the families of the victims.
Yes, we meet the families of the victims, and we also meet his family.
Yeah.
And we were very surprised when she pulled up to his mother's house, and
Jack Black is his brother.
Yeah.
Which goes back to my whole other thing I was talking about before, where sometimes it's fun to watch these movies to where like there's people in them who at the time were maybe just starting out, or maybe they weren't just starting out, but they would later go on to be a lot more famous than they were at that point in their career. And you either like forget that they were in that movie, or maybe you never knew they were in that movie in the first place. But when you see him, you're like, oh, look, it's, in this case, Jack Black or whoever. And also at this point, obviously Jack Black is mostly known for comedic roles, but this was not
It's
a
a
comedic
very
role
serious,
for him.
I mean, and not that he was a huge star.
Yeah, he didn't have a big part, but
yeah.
it's interesting to see when an actor or an actress becomes known as something, to see them kind of go against the grain on that. I mean, I guess at the time it wasn't really going against the grain because he, wasn't a big star yet. But anyway, out of the ordinary for what you would expect when you see him in movies.
Yeah. So, Susan Sarandon kind of has this moment of feeling like after she meets with the victims' families, like they make her really kind of reevaluate and think about like, is he worth fighting for? But she kind of goes on the premise that like, everybody has the right to repent and have someone that cares for them and be on their side. So the days get closer and eventually it becomes the day of his execution. He gets to spend his final day with Susan Sarandon, and then his family gets to come visit for a little bit. So we get to see Jack Black again. One of his other brothers is John Abrahams, who played Denny in Meet the Parents.
Which we also talked about
recently.
It's interesting to see all of the different connections sometimes that movies have to each other. And another connection here is R. Lee Ermey, who you probably know from Full Metal Jacket as the drill sergeant. But the first thing that I ever saw him in, and so it therefore is the thing that I always remember him for, was he was Coach in Saving Silverman. And Saving Silverman is one of my favorite movies, which also it has Jack Black in a starring role, which was also one of the first things that I saw Jack Black in. So there's another connection there. And that one is obviously a comedic role for both of them. Because R. Lee Ermey, you don't usually see him in comedic roles necessarily. He usually plays kind of like a tough guy or with a sense of humor most of the time. Like he might have some dark humor or something, But then anyway, that's another connection there. It was kind of interesting to see.
Yeah. So we've, exhausted all appeals. We're on the day of his death, and it takes you through as he finally admits to Susan Sarandon that he did in fact kill the boy and rape the girl, and that he is very sorrowful, and he apologizes to the family as he's about to be put to death, and we watch as that process takes place. I think it was done it was done very well. Like, I feel like they showed enough and made you care enough that it definitely pulled at your heartstrings while that's happening. But it wasn't so much that it was like, I can't watch this, where that I've seen, plenty of things, including Dragged Across Concrete, where you have to look away. And I think that that's a really responsible way to do these kind of movies. And because obviously this is a very heavy topic in general,
Yeah.
So I think it was just done very tastefully and tactfully. And did this movie win awards? It feels like a movie that would have won something.
I don't know. I remember it, being released and everything, but I'm honestly not sure.
I mean, we were in 5th grade when this movie came out, so it would not have been.
Oh, here you go. So Susan Sarandon won an Academy Award for Best Actress in a Leading Role.
Yeah.
Sean Penn won an Independent Spirit Award for the Best Male Lead. Susan Sarandon won a Screen Actors Guild Award. She also won a David D. Donatello Award. So I guess, yeah, it won some awards.
Okay.
It's legit. It's a legit movie.
Legit. Too legit. So that I would say that was most serious one of the movies we watched.
Yeah, and to me, like, I thought it would have been a more compelling story if he actually was innocent. Like, to me, it was one of those things where, you know, by this point in the movie, they've kind of tried to show you his human side and make you feel sorry for him, and, you know, you do, but when they also kind of show you the families of the victims, you understand where they're coming from too. Because, like, it's like, well, yeah, now that you're on death row, all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's so terrible that I did this thing. But, you know, you didn't have that same attitude when you were doing that. And, like, they showed the trial, clips of the trial that he was in leading up to it, and he was all, you know,
not likable.
Yeah, he's all bragging about how, yeah, I did this, and, you know, nothing's gonna happen to me, and, you know, if I die, I hope I come back as a terrorist so I can, you know, blow up government buildings and stuff, like, and praising Hitler and crazy stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, it kind of makes you wonder, like, well, did he actually find remorse and change his ways, or was this just like a desperate man kind of grasping at straws, trying to get a second chance? Because what if they would have given him a second chance, and then you find out later he actually did do all those things? Mm-hmm. Is he just trying to get out, or, you know, was he genuinely trying to change his ways? You know,
I guess that always is the question that you would ask in that situation. So I think that's what you're supposed to think.
Yeah. So it's just, you know, it's a different story than if it would have turned out that, because before he was saying, I'm not completely innocent, I just didn't do what they said I did. Mm-hmm. But then it turns out, like, no, I did everything they said I did. You know, like, I think it would have been different if it was like, I admit that I played a part in it, but I didn't do everything that they said I did, you know?
Yeah. So that was Dead Men Walking, and to turn things...
So we were on a bit of a crime and murder and, you know, really hardcore movie spree. So naturally, the next film that we watched was the most hardcore of all of them.
Yes.
And this movie is actually a remake of a movie from 1950. It's very serious and very, you know, it's very serious subject matter, crime and punishment. This movie's called Cheaper by the Dozen, and it was released. This remake was released in 2003. Now, this Steve Martin is in it, Bonnie Hunt is in it, Tom Welling, who I like to call fake James Marsden because I always get them confused, and I still do now. Apparently, Tom Welling was Superman in Smallville, who I always swore was James Marsden.
No.
I don't know. They're the same guy as far as
they
I'm
don't
concerned.
look anything alike.
It reminds me of Jesse Plemons and Matt Damon. Jesse Plemons is fake Matt Damon.
No, they do not look anything alike.
And every time I see Jesse Plemons for like a split second, I'm like, it's not Matt Damon.
All right, back me up
fake,
here,
fake
fans.
Matt Damon.
In the Instagram comments and on the Facebook page, back me up that Tom and James don't look anything alike.
They could pass if you're glancing.
I think like maybe
like a stunt double.
Henry Cavill and Tom Welling, maybe.
I don't know.
Not James
They're
Marsden.
the same dude.
They don't look the same at all. Anyway, so we watched Cheaper by the Dozen
Hilary
with the kids.
Duff, Ashton Kutcher.
It's on Disney Plus.
Allison Stoner.
Piper Perabo. The dad from Step Brothers, Richard Jenkins, Stephen Lawrence, Alan Ruck. This movie is full of big names. And actually, Travis and I saw this movie together in the theater in 2003. We actually saw it with my family on Thanksgiving Day. I think I've mentioned before that that's like a tradition that we had. We would go see a family movie, and this was that movie. Basically in this movie, Steve Martin and Bonnie Hunt have 12 children. So Hunt's the dozen. And he's a small college football coach in a small town. They live in a small house. They don't have a lot of money. And then he gets an offer for his dream job at the college he played football at, where he would be the head coach and he would be making a lot of money. So they make this big move to the big town of Chicago, and the kids are not happy about it. And then at the same time, his wife has just finished a book that she's written about their lives raising 12 children. and they want her to come out for a few days. And, you know, he's in the peak of football season, but he's like, okay, well, this is your dream, so you go and we'll figure it out. While she's gone, she gets told, no, you're going to be gone for several weeks. And so hijinks ensue because he's got these 12 very rambunctious children that he's trying to take care of without his wife, who was clearly the person that kept it all together, but also doing his job. And yeah, so it gets a little wild. Questions that I had along the way: why didn't you hire some help? And they kind of address it. He's calling like nanny agencies in the phone book, and he tells them it's 12 kids, and they're like, no.
Yeah, which to me didn't make a lot of sense. I'm like, look, if you're a big time college football coach now, or at least a bigger time than you were, because I mean they move into this giant house, so I'm like, you're making some money now. Like, it would make more sense like if he was just asking like kids in the neighborhood or something, you know, like teenagers that babysit or something, and they were like, yeah, I'm not watching 12 kids. But it's like, if you're going through the phone book and you're calling multiple professional agencies, you think they'd be like, heck yeah, we'll watch 12 kids, we'll send 5 people, and you got to pay them all $300 a day or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's a fun movie. The kids, it's definitely good for a lot of laughs. There's a lot of physical comedy in it. Ashton Kutcher is the oldest daughter, who is played by Piper Perabo, her boyfriend, and he's an actor, and he's very into himself, and the other kids play pranks on him so that because they don't like him.
This was the Crime and Punishment I was talking about.
Yeah. So it's very, very funny. If you haven't seen it, we would highly recommend it as a family movie.
Another thing, speaking of the connections we were talking about in movies, you see when they send over, I think it was Oprah was supposed to interview him, or somebody was supposed to interview him, you know.
Yes,
and then
Oprah.
Dax Shepard showed up as one of the production assistants. And, you know, at the time, Dax Shepard was on Punk'd with Ashton Kutcher. So I don't know I think the show might have been like during Punk'd. I don't know if it was pre or post or during, but
it was probably the very early.
That's another connection, because he wasn't really like that well known at the time either.
No, and Wayne Knight
Knight was in it. He was a repairman.
Yeah. He plays the guy that's fixing their chandelier.
Very, very briefly, but he was in it.
Yeah, so that one's a good one. It's very funny. Our kids liked it a lot.
There is a sequel as well.
There is a sequel.
Both of them are on Disney Plus. If you have Disney Plus, if you want to get the Disney bundle, you'll get Disney Plus and Hulu. And ESPN Plus, which is the most absolutely useless plus there is.
Yes.
It gives you the ability to pay for more things. So, yay. That sounds like Disney, all right.
So that takes us through the movies that we've been watching. And then typically before we, like, one of our wind down things at night is we like to watch like an episode of something before we go to bed. So I like murder shows a lot. So a lot of times we'll watch some kind of murder documentary, but what made you want to watch Reacher?
Well, I had seen a clip of it online and it looked kind of interesting.
Okay.
And I saw it was on Prime, so I was like, well, it's included. Check it out. Why not? Yeah,
so we started Reacher, which is an Amazon Prime original, and I do believe it's in its second season, but we're starting obviously at the beginning. So we watched 2 episodes at this point.
Yes.
It's very interesting.
Yes.
What's the name of the main guy?
The actor?
Yeah.
Alan Richson? I thought I wrote it down.
He's a very big dude, y'all. He's very big. I thought he was a wrestler.
Yeah. He does look, Alan Richson.
Yeah. He's like, his neck, I think, might be the size of...
He's a big dude.
Of like...
Yeah, I saw this clip online, and I don't know what episode or season it's from, but it was almost like a meme. I don't know. Sometimes people post clips of videos as memes, I guess. Mm-hmm. And it was like somebody was going to get robbed at an ATM, and he like helps them out, and he takes out like 5 or 6 people at a time. And I was like, wow, this guy's crazy. What is this? That might actually be entertaining to watch. So
yeah. So we've seen the first 2 episodes.
It's about, so this guy, he shows up in this small town in Georgia, and in the beginning of the episode, you see this person getting murdered, and then you see Reacher showing up on a bus, and then the cops come and arrest him, and they think that he's the guy that killed the person you saw in the beginning. But then as the episode goes on, you learn that the guy that got killed was his brother, or he actually learns that too. And, you know, it turns out he's an ex-cop and ex-military as well, I think. Mm-hmm. And so he kind of starts helping the cops try to figure out who did it. And that's really about where we are right now. I haven't seen much else besides that.
Yeah, we can definitely tell there's some dirty laundry in this town. Yes. Dirty cops. And they're just trying to figure out who done it before more people get murdered. So,
and if you may or may not recall, there were 2 movies made with the same characters, but not the same actors. Jack Reacher and Jack Reacher. I don't know what the second one was called, but Tom Cruise plays Jack Reacher in the movies. And apparently the show, there isn't any continuity between the movies and the shows as far as I know. We haven't watched the movies yet. But apparently the show is supposed to be like a reboot of that.
They're based on
story.
Books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of that is based on a book series.
Which is interesting. Just not knowing anything about them. I literally know nothing about the movies. I didn't even know there were movies until
I knew there were movies. But I'm kind of the same way. Like I know they exist, but I'm not really familiar with them. It's interesting because
I feel like they've built a whole thing around this character Reacher being like this really big dude. Tom Cruise is not a really big dude. He's like the opposite of a really big dude.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting, I guess.
But he is a pretty good action star, though. Like
he is
Mission Impossible, and
yeah,
I don't know, he's other stuff. But
right, but I mean, like
Mission Impossible.
I feel like part of the aesthetic of the character is that he's like this really big guy, which you can't.
Sure.
Yeah. But anyway, so we've started watching that, and we will continue to watch that.
I saw on IMDb that Robert Patrick apparently is in it at some point. The guy that plays T-1000 in Terminator 2. So that'll be cool. He was in Peacemaker. So if you've seen Peacemaker on HBO, John Cena's in it. We ain't really talking about it much here, but it's a good show. But I'm looking forward to seeing him. I don't know if he's in this first season or the new second season, or maybe both. Find out.
Well, that's what we've been up to lately. And it is, we're doing our best to watch things so that we can turn around and talk to you about them.
Here's the thing is, we're definitely always going to be watching movies and shows all the time. How many of them actually end up in episodes is a different story. But rest assured, we frequently watch movies and television shows. So if you have something you'd like to see us cover, feel free to let us know. We might even start posting some updates of what we're watching, even if we don't do an episode on it, just to kind of put it out there that, hey, this is something we've seen. So if you're interested in it and we get a reaction from it, maybe we'll use that as a barometer to what to talk about.
Definitely. Please reach out and let us know those thoughts, ideas, suggestions, all the things on our social media platforms. We are at Life in Pics Pod.
Yes, on everything except for Facebook, which is Life in Pictures Podcast. And we do have links to the show where you can listen to it. But if you just heard me say that, you're already listening to it. So I guess you found it. Congratulations.
And if you like and review on Apple Podcasts, then it kind of spreads the word about our show to other people. So we can go from 5 listeners to maybe 10.
Yeah, I did see that we got a few new followers. I don't know if I'm just looking in the wrong place or if it doesn't tell you, but I don't know who they are. But whoever you are, thank you for listening. We're glad that you're here. And like you just said, go ahead and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. We hope you like the show. We hope the review is positive, but say what you want to say. If it's good, great. If you don't like it, that's okay too. It's not for everyone. So get the word out there if you feel like it, or don't. Whatever you want to do.
All right. Well, with that.
All right. We hope you enjoy the show. We'll see you next time.